So now that we started with having a created from an idea like the bill of material part structure, we started adding documents and document templates and exporting the bill of material based on this one. I mean, all these things. So now I want to make this more significant. So I want to create subtypes. So these types generally refers to any product component, whatever kind of a product it may be. So these stuff, they have a specific set of attributes, common attributes like name, number, default trace code, default unit, end item, gathering part, and all this kind of stuff. I want to create a part type just like this WT part type, which has certain significance in the type of that particular component that you're using. So what if I want to have some plastic parts? So plastic parts, they're a little different when it comes to an engineering product, wherein which you have certain compliances and you don't have to go through a long set of what do you say life cycle template like this one with 7 stages, and eventually that will take more time for approving a plastic part, which will eventually take a long time, which you don't want to do. And of course, plastic part has its own set of other attributes. What kind of a plastic, who is the vendor who's supplying the plastic, and all other details, if at all you are manufacturing plastic part. This is kind of one specific scenario in your product development process and bill of material gathering. So you can have many scenarios like that, like, if you want to add a PCB part, printed circuit boards, that has a different set of CAD tools to design those kind of stuff. And you need to give a different significant part type for that one with its own set of attributes. And you create a lifecycle template for that one specifically, so that those parts doesn't have to follow the steps what the lifecycle template of these WT parts, general WT parts. So now we'll do is like a little bit of a customization. So I want to have certain plastic parts, wherein which in this part structure, the racks, middle rack, bottom wedges rack, door racks, all these things are plastic parts. Okay, so I want to specifically give plastic part and make it significant in the part structure, and it's have its own set of local attributes. Other than the attributes, it retains from the WT part. Okay, so I want to make it more significant. So what I have to do is like I log in as the site admin. That is my site admin. Yeah, and I go to the specific organization and create my own subtype. So for that one, you have to go to type and attribute management and create your type. So I have to go to the WT part. Okay, this is the part which we are using to build your part structure and other things. So from here, I want to create a subtype. So I will create a subtype, say new subtype. I want to name that as a plastic part. Internal name has to be without any spaces. So display name, you can have it with the proper spacing and format. Okay, I don't want to use the same zip file, so I'm going to use a different file. Like, let me use my paint and go ahead with the size of 16 to 16 pixels. Mm, Sorry. Okay, this is this much small, so go to view and zoom it. in. Now start designing my icon for the new part type actually. So I'm going to put it like choose the thickness of the. Let me do it like this. Let me do like this. Okay. I'm going to save it into this location, WT core images. So whenever there is a directory location or whatever it is, it always resides in the code base folder. So I'm going to go to the code base folder and save it there, which is somewhere inside my computer. SQL planning, etc, Windchill, Windchill, code base, WT core images. I'm going to name it as P part. Okay, ppart.png. Yeah, that's okay. PNG files also should work. So now I'll come back to my this one. I say part PNG and hit a tab. I got my new icon for my new part. And say okay. So now that I created a part, so it see that it retains all the attributes of what this parent part was. The parent part had a set of attributes. It retained all of the parent part's attributes here also, but I want some local attributes for this one to work. So like I want to create a bunch of local attributes. So I'm going to create local attributes. Manage reusable attributes is the place where I have to go, and I create my own attribute organizer. That will be name of my organization, global GoLogica. Okay. Now I start creating new reusable attributes. So first thing is I want to create a vendor ID, vendor name, vendor ID, which is going to be some integer number. Then vendor name. That I want it to be a string type so that it characters. Third one I want to have plastic type. Plastic type. I want to have string, and I will create some drop down box for this one to add values. And the next one is I want to have a boolean variable like vendor approval. Vendor approved. It's a boolean variable. I will take approval date. Rule date I can give date and time, and I want to create one calculated attribute also with this one. Create vendor cost. That would be with real numbers, with decimal point and everything. Okay. Vendor ID, vendor name, vendor approved, vendor approval date, plastic type, vendor cost. Okay, this is more than enough. So we can have multiple list of attribute types. This is a universal location where you can create attributes. I mean data types and variables, and you make them as attributes here inside your type. So come back here again, plastic part. Make sure it is in edit mode. Go to attributes and start creating global attributes. Global attributes, like you start with vendor vendor ID, and you attach it to the variable. Yeah, this is the variable. I created the variable and the attribute with the same name, so don't get confused. Display name is like this. ID, it's not a currency, default value, display mode. Go with the default one. Now I want to set constraints for this vendor ID. Vendor ID number has to be unique number, so no two vendors will have the same number. So I'm going to say no duplicate values. I'm going to say required so that this attribute cannot be left blank. That's it. We start with the next attribute, vendor name. Next, assign the particular variable. Vendor name. Single line. It should not be multiple lines. Okay. String length, I want to. Yeah, I cannot change it. So again, I'm making this as a required attribute, and I want to make it as uppercase also. As soon as you enter the field, it becomes uppercase. Yeah. Visibility is like you want to make sure this attribute is visible when you're creating a new object or when you're editing a new object. And that one we'll see it in our calculated attributes. If you want to give a default value also, you can give default value. That we'll see in the next set of it. Okay, vendor name, vendor ID is done. After that, vendor approved. This is a Boolean variable, right? Yeah, okay. We'll go ahead and say 6 attributes are there. Totally we can create 7. Vendor approved. Yeah, vendor approved is this one. And add one question mark here, vendor approved. Available attribute ID, default value display mode. I want to pre-populate it with yes or no. And I want to put a drop down box. Finish. Okay. Now the default value I want to say always no. add that as a default value. So whenever you choose, it will be always with the default, no constraint in that. So here I don't think you need to put any constraint. So save this one, go to the next one. Vendor type, not vendor type, plastic type. Plastic type, let's say again, I want to put approval date also. Oh, I went to plastic type suddenly. Okay, maybe we can rearrange it later. Plastic type, it's a string variable. So I want to create a drop down box with the default values. So I'm going to say default value display mode is repopulate. Input field type is single line. I don't want to keep that selection. This style is like drop down box. Yeah, and say finish. And I want to add a constraint for this one is creating enumerated value list. So I'm going to create my own list of enumerated values like this plastic type polymer. The second one is carbonate. Third one is polyvinyl chloride PVC. Okay. So the values you have to choose only from any of these things. So you cannot have your own value entered in there. So let's save. And I'm not giving any default value. If you want to add default value, you have to click on this one.
Is it possible to add a field there in case it was not one of those three plastics to add your own?
That one we don't have an option right now. You have to come back here and you can, you know, you have to, change the entries or add more entries.
Okay, I was thinking maybe just you have those three, but then one other one for to say maybe other, and then an open field for
Mm.
writing your own text. No.
You have only external enumerated value list. For example, you have a enumerated value list in some other attribute. You can call that enumerated list and have it here, which will automatically load into this attribute. Let me see if there is any option to do that. Suggest value list, suggested value list, regular expression string format, wildcard character string length, required single value notificates. I don't think you can have that.
Yeah. Okay. It's probably better to have it this way, anyways.
Yeah, I have seen people file enhancement request for
Mhm.
those kind of functionalities, but I don't know. PTC is still looking into. So maybe 13.0 they might introduce.
Hmm. Okay.
Next one is approval date. Yeah, approval date. Plastic type we given vendor approved. We have given vendor cost, and vendor cost is pending. Date only I wanted. Display format. Repopulate. Drop down. Display format is like I want like today's date is 19th September, right? So I want to say it like 19 dash SCP dash 2023. So if that is the case, I have to type in like this DD small case dash MMM uppercase. If you type small case M, it will show only the numbers. It won't show you the words. Like September is the ninth month, so it will show 09. If you put just small m, if you put uppercase M, It will show you in SEP September. Obviously, per year you put 4Y.
For a month, you put three M's?
Yeah, I wanted to show it like SCP, OCT, DEC,
Mm-hmm.
NOV, like that.
Okay.
I don't want to show it in numbers. So I don't want to have any default values or any other constraint that it has to be, required attribute and all this kind of stuff. So the last one is vendor cost. So again, vendor cost is like this one, real numbers. It's a currency. Yes, it's a currency. Default value display mode, nothing of that sort. So just going to enter the number. And this attribute is supposed to be a required attribute, because with vendor cost only, we are going to create vendor cost with GST. Okay. So now we created all the 6 attributes, and we have set values for all these things, constraints and all these things. I want to create one calculated attribute. Calculated attribute is nothing but you create an attribute locally here with the help of existing attributes in this list of default attributes or user defined attributes. You make some mathematical formulas based on that, out of that one, and get the value for the attribute in a new in a calculated way. So I'm going to create an attribute saying that it's a calculated attribute, saying vendor cost with, with GST, goods and service tax. It's not a string variable, it's a real number. Go next. So here is what you have to put the formula. So you have to put exactly the attribute name, internal name. Like I'm going to say vendor cost plus the bracket, say vendor cost, use shift 8, use a star for multiplication, so dot 1 8. So we have 18% GST in India, so I don't know how much is it yours. So 18% of vendor cost plus vendor cost gives you the complete vendor cost with the GST amount. So this is the formula for that one. And it's a currency. Yes, it's a currency. And default value display amount percentage is still okay. So if I click finish, if the formula is correct, it won't prompt me any error messages. Okay. And it's always immutable. Immutable means you cannot change it. It is obtained by the values that is already in the list of attributes. That is one of the attribute is vendor cost. So I want to make visible, create new. I don't want to give visibility when you're creating a new this one, or when you're editing a object. It has to be only visible when you're seeing the details page of the object. So that is done. So next thing is we have to configure the layout. So here you might have seen the layouts of any now what do you say object. Go to folders. This is okay. You see this, right? This box is visualization attributes, general attributes. These are all called layouts. So we can create a specific layout for our set of attributes, what we created, like 6, 7 attributes we created, right? So we can create it. So here you have a list of all the layouts. Each and every layout specifies a different scenario. So this layout is called more attributes info page layout. And you open this and you create a new attribute. This is called create new layout. This layout is called create new layout. This layout is called create new layout. And if you do edit, this layout is called edit layout. So don't get confused with create new layout means it is not creating a new layout. It's a layout used when you're creating a new object. Okay. So create new layout. I'm going. I want to put all these attributes separately in a different box. You know, I don't want to mix it with the existing ones. Okay. I want to create a new box here, saying that I name it as vendor attributes. Vendor attributes, and I'm going to put it in multiple columns, like 2 columns or 3 columns, or whatever it is. Vendor ID here, vendor name here, plastic type here, approval date here, approved question mark here, and vendor cost. Vendor GST, you don't want to put it when you create it because it is created from vendor cost directly here. This one is created with the help of this attribute value, so you don't have to worry about it. So we leave it like this. Save this one for create a new attribute, edit attribute, edit layout. Edit layout, I want to put it like, again, I want to separate everything, put it in a different box. Call it as vendor attributes again. Yeah. So here I want to give it in 2 columns. ID, vendor name, vendor approved, approval date, plastic type, plastic cost, vendor cost. So this is the one for edit. So now third one is I want to show all the attributes in the details page section. So details page section, I want to give it like, I want to do it on a different section here itself. Yeah. I want to give it like this. I don't want this, I don't like this. Okay. So I push everything to the side. Oops. Yeah. Now I can use this 3-column option to show everything. So start with vendor ID, vendor name, and plastic type. So vendor approved, approval date, vendor cost. I'll put vendor cost with GST little lower. Now make some significant details. Vendor attributes. Okay, so this is done now, and I'm going to my this one, and I'm going to create my own set of this. I'll go here, parts folder. Okay, so here compressor unit, inner unit. Uh, Inner unit only we have some. Yeah, inner unit I want to create racks. Okay. So inner unit, I'm going to create racks. Right, select inner unit, right click on it and say insert new, and say plastic part. I'll say rack 001, refrigerator. Okay. So here we have the layout for the attributes we created. Vendor ID is like 23. If I type something like alphabets, it's going to value is invalid. Value must be integer. So 112. Vendor name is new global polymers. Type is like it's a polymer. Vendor approved is yes. When did they approve it? Like 5th of this month. Vendor cost is like 56, 23. Okay, I'm gonna finish it. So I got my plastic, this one with the icon. And if I want to see the details of this page or the details section of this one, I again created new set of layouts for displaying the values. So here you see it is calculated 563, 18 percentage of 563 and added to 563 and gave you 664.61, which is your calculated attribute. Vendor approved, yes. When it was approved, 5th September. See the format SEP. Otherwise, it will be showing 09 if I put just this one, because we have a confusion of date formats, American, European, and Indian standards. So we start with date, month, and year. Usually in America, we start with month, day, and the year, right?
Yes, that's
So
correct.
that is why I chose this format so that you
I
can do
see.
exactly.
Yeah.
So 05, 09, 23 for Indian,
I
it
mean,
is like,
sometimes we do put it in that same format, but most of the time it's month, day, and year.
so
But we do have it in this format as well.
yeah, most of the time Americans use like month, day, and year. When
Correct.
it is Europeans, and Indians, we follow the British standards. Like
Hmm.
everything British is what we follow. So it'll be like day, month, and year.
Hmm.
So if I put 0509 2023,
I see.
so that is why Java has this format of giving it different date format so that we have no confusion.
Hmm.
So it's obvious that it is 5th September, not 9th May. So, and all the constraints are working perfectly fine. So I said like we'll change it to uppercase, whatever vendor name we give. It is like New Global Polymers, which is you know I typed in lowercase, it became uppercase. So everything pretty much works here.
Hmm. The GST again, is that global? What's the GST for the vendor cost with GST? The
GST is
standard
actually
tax or
yeah,
what is it?
GST is it's called goods and service tax.
Oh, goods and service tax. Okay. Yeah.
So if you are supplying any hardware or something,
Hmm.
you have goods tax as well as service tax, which comes around 9% and 9%, totally 18%. 9% for goods, 9% for service.
Okay.
Like for example, you supply some plastic material. So for the transportation and other things, you charge 9%, and for the packing material and loading, unloading, packaging, and everything, you charge around again 9%, which you have to pay for the government. Mostly it goes to the federal government, not to the state government.
Hmm.
So it is collected by the state government and the state government submits to the federal government. That's the same procedure in England, Great Britain, British, territories. So since we are the colonial friends of Britain, we follow still the same procedure.
Mm. Okay.
So this is just an example scenario for telling you how you can create a calculated attribute, but we don't have to go much deep into what is GST and all these things.
Right.
But there is GST for everything. Every part you buy, every part you get serviced, everything you have a GST tax. It's like 18% is too much.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and certain goods, the GST varies from one state to another state. I live in another state called Karnataka, where
Hmm.
this is Bangalore city. You buy a car, you buy any kind of a passenger vehicle, whether it is a car, SUV, MPV, or whatever it is. They have 14% GST. Whereas in my state, the GST is like 5%.
Wow, it's a big difference.
Yeah, you buy a car for 10 grand, so you pay around you pay around again another almost 1.4 grand
Mm.
for Karnataka, and I pay only another half a grand with that 10 grands what I buy in my place.
So I imagine people come to your state, buy a car, then go back to their state.
That is not possible.
No? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have a specific state registration. It's not like other
Uh,
countries. You don't
yeah.
have a federal registration which is approved throughout the country. So we have specific state registration for our state. It's Tamil Nadu. It starts with TN, and Karnataka state registration starts with KA. So if I bring my car, if I buy my car in my state and bring it to Karnataka, first thing they'll ask you is, do you have no objection certificate?
Mm,
Like travel with the car registered in your state to travel in this one. So I can give
right.
excuses. I came to see my friend, so I'll go back today.
Yeah, right.
Uh, but if you're caught like twice or thrice in the same city,
Hmm.
then they will seize your car and they'll charge
Mm,
you around 3 to 4 grand of fine.
wow.
Yeah, and to get NOC, it's like 20 percentage of the actual price of the car in other states. So usually we don't do that. We buy the car in the same state or same place where we live, same
Hmm.
city where we live.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you have this kind of a complicated rules in the US.
Um, well, not quite as complicated. I mean, you can buy a car in a different state and bring it to your state and then re-register it in your state, no problem.
Oh, okay, you have to re-register it again.
Yeah, you have to re-register. Yeah. I mean, you have
In
time. You can, there's a time and maybe up to a year to get it registered in your state.
So we have one state in our place called Pondicherry, which was once a colonial place of the French people. So the French people, they're still sending funds for the development of that particular state for every yearly budget and all these things.
Mm.
So there is no sales tax in that particular state. Zero
Oh,
sales tax.
wow.
No sales tax. So the price of the cars, everything you buy is much more cheaper than what you get in other states.
Mm.
That's because they don't have sales tax, and the whole economy of that particular state is supported by France. And
Mm.
people who are registered citizen of that particular place, they can still vote for French prime minister elections.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have
And
about 4 or 5 states here where there's no sales tax.
oh yeah, I heard California is one of those kind of states. But I'm not
No,
sure.
we have sales tax in California.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
but
Alaska,
California,
we,
yeah, maybe Alaska, but California is one of the richest state compared to any other country. Also, it's like the eighth strongest economy in the world.
Oh yeah,
California alone.
yeah, yep. California, New York. Uh, yeah.
Okay, so I
All right.
think today we had quite a good set of
Yeah, yeah,
conversations on.
yeah. This is good customization, so that's good.
So tomorrow we'll see like I want to create a specific lifecycle template for this part alone,
Hmm.
so that the lifecycle template here changes. So I don't want to go too much of approval process, testing, and all these things. Number of stages is too much. This is okay for an engineering product, but a plastic product is not that engineering part
Right.
or engineering product. So we would like to have only like four approval process, 4 stages or 5 stages, so that after 4 to 5 stages it goes to it's getting ready for manufacturing. So
Right.
we'll create a new template and we'll see how to attach the new template to this specific object type called plastic part and see how this goes.
For sure.
So try to practice every day so that
Yeah.
from tomorrow or the day after tomorrow I'll start giving you exercises. So
Okay.
like use case scenarios to do certain things and you can practice and try to do it and get back to me if you have any doubts we can discuss. Right?
Hmm. Yep.
Right. So that's it for the day and we'll catch up tomorrow same time.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, you too.